Next on the panel, we have Senator McConnell and Brian Patton.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. Appreciate the chance to come here on behalf of my state. It's my understanding these sessions are intended to gather stakeholder input on what people think about future carbon regulations on existing power plants. However, I couldn't help but notice these sessions are scheduled only for states where coal does not have a large presence, like California and Massachusetts. Other regions of the country, however, are well aware that coal provides nearly 40% of our nation's electricity. As such, I ask all of you folks to hold a hearing in Pikeville, Kentucky, to hear the concerns of coal country. But since EPA refuses to come to Pikeville, I decided on behalf of Kentucky's coal miners and their families that I would bring their concerns to you myself. If the EPA won't come to listen to us, we'll come here to the EPA. By now, it is clear that this administration and your agency have declared a war on coal. For Kentucky, this means a war on jobs and on our state's economy. The President has outright stated his intentions for the coal industry, and this is what he had to say. If somebody wants to build a coal power plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them because they're going to be charged a huge sum for all the greenhouse gas that's being emitted. It's a direct quote from the President of the United States. One of the first things President Obama did upon taking office in 2009 was to push through Congress his cap-and-trade bill, to try to push it through, I might add, designed to hike utility rates and bankrupt the coal industry. Back in 2009, his party, the Democratic Party, controlled both houses of Congress. They held a supermajority in the Senate of 60 votes. They could actually pass anything they wanted to, but the bill only narrowly passed the House and could never pass the Senate. It idled away and ultimately did not pass in the Senate. That's how extreme this President's agenda is. He proposed setting unheard-of caps on greenhouse gas emissions, and his own party, in control of both houses of Congress, said no. So what this President could not get enacted into law, he is trying to now enact through the bureaucracy. He has unleashed the EPA to fulfill the same extreme mandates that were in his cap-and-trade bill. But before you do, you're going to hear from us. Coal employs more than 13,000 people in Kentucky, and I think it's important to note that at the beginning of this administration, it employed 18,000. We've gone from 18,000 coal miners down to 13,000. We have a depression in eastern Kentucky, not a recession, a depression. Because for every coal job, there are 3 or 4 additional jobs. So this administration has declared war on coal. As far as my state is concerned, since 90% of our electricity comes from coal-fired generation, we can anticipate higher utility rates, which has been one of the great ways that we've been able to attract new industry to the Commonwealth. So we're here to remind you that coal keeps the lights on for Kentucky and for the nation. I want to introduce you to a man who will speak for Kentucky coal miners today. As a 5th-generation coal man, he truly understands the central role coal plays in Kentucky's industry and in our economy, in our history, and yes, in our future. Brian Patton's great-great-grandfather was a coal miner in Ireland. His father managed large coal mines in Kentucky. And today, Brian is the president of service at the James River Coal Service Company. He knows full well how Kentucky coal miners work 14-hour days to bring affordable energy to the state and the country. He knows because he works just as hard himself. If you're truly interested in listening to the people whose way of life you will affect the most, you need to listen to Brian's voice of wisdom and experience. So I'd like now to call on Brian for his observations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Again, to introduce myself, I'm Brian Patton. I'm president of James River Coal Service and very much appreciate the invitation today from Senator McConnell to come and speak with you. Senator McConnell very much outlined to you the impacts that these regulations and draft regulations going forward are going to have on our local economy, our state economy, and then also on the economy of the nation. As he said before, we have a depression in Eastern Kentucky. When I left Eastern Kentucky yesterday after a 48-hour workday over 2 days, we furloughed and or laid off over 200 employees. Our company as a whole over the last 6 months has had to do that with over 725 employees. Understand, these are communities of just 1,000, 2,000 people, 3,000 people. And when you have that type of an economic impact due to regulations, many of which that are regulations that come from Washington, D.C., that have very little understanding of what the outcome is for local folks, for folks that get up and go to work every day, and what that impact will be for their families in the future, then that's wrong. And obviously we're having hearings today in D.C. I find myself again here at the EPA having to come to Washington, D.C. to discuss issues. This is not my first visit here. I've been here on numerous occasions. But I would very much wish and invite you to coal country. I think there is a side, and you've heard people speak previously saying they are from coal country, and some of those folks are, some of those folks maybe visit. But there are thousands of folks right now that would love the opportunity to sit and discuss with you the issues that they have at hand. Those issues are basic. They want a job. They want to go to work. They want to provide for their families. They want to provide college educations for their kids. They want to have a decent retirement. As simple as they want to buy a bass boat. You know, just the American dream. It's all that simple. And in Appalachia, without coal and without the industry that provides jobs, we have very little left for these people to remain employed. Now, there may be alternative fuel measures, there may be all the other things that can pop out of the woodwork, but at this point, there is no alternative. So I ask that you consider the real people of Appalachia, the real people of coal country, the people that really matter in this argument, because if you take away our livelihood, then I don't know what we have left. And so again, I invite you to coal country. Thank you.
Thank you very much.